Okay, we will slowly get started, or maybe a bit faster. And we only have half an hour for this meeting. And the purpose of the meeting is, at least of this meeting in particular, is first to answer your questions in relation to the Odyssey project, if you have any, how it works. And second, and maybe most important for today, is to discuss the networking component of the Odyssey project, as it's very important to be able to network with compassion, especially nowadays. And I'm sure you agree, looking at the news and the world around us. Okay, and yeah, people are still joining, and I will, as promised, I will first start by asking you, I presume everybody is familiar with the Odyssey project. Are you already registered in the project?
I'm not familiar. I'm first time today, and I just heard anything about a project from Olga.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, I don't know what to expect, to be honest.
Okay. What about the others? Tomasz?
I think the same as Paweł.
I am familiar, but not participating.
So I think I like look what it is actually.
Okay, I see. And Olga said she's familiar, and I know that Greg knows very well as Marcin. They already know what the project is about. And yes, I will briefly, I will start sharing a couple of slides and briefly explain the concept of the project. After which I will take some questions, and then we will dive with in the how to network with compassion part. And actually this second part of about networking with compassion is a part where I invite all of you to share your view. But let's proceed with sharing of these slides and seeing what is the Odyssey project about. I am looking for the slides, and I hope you should be able now to see my slides.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great, thank you. And very briefly, the Odyssey project is the place to be a mentor, to be a mentee, and also to grow your network, meaning that you get the possibility to meet new people. And the pool of mentors, mentees, and networking pair is international. So basically, you are able to meet Toastmasters from the entire world. The way it works, and this is actually the only slide I have, so very briefly describing how it works. First, you need to register, and you can do that by going to the project website and find registration link there. And when the next round will start, you will receive a match, or a mentor, or a mentee, or a networking pair, depending on what you have asked for. So basically, registering means you input your name, your club, your skills, your level, what you want to learn, if you can teach somebody else some of the skills. And based on this information, you will be allocated a mentor or mentee or networking pair. Any questions so far, especially since we have new people? Seems not to be the case. So after you receive the email with the information about your pairs, you'll have 3 to 4 weeks to meet at least once, obviously online. And after which, especially in the last of the 4 weeks, you will share feedback about how the meeting went, how was your pair, your mentor or your mentee, and also feedback about the system. In this feedback form, you can also specify if you want to continue with your mentor or mentee. On the networking side, you'll be getting a new person at every round. So after filling in the feedback, the entire process repeats, and you'll get again a new email with the same mentor if you decided to continue with the same person and actually you are both agreeing on this, or with a new person. So the way I joke about this is like this try again possibility in finding the best mentor or mentee for you. So this is very briefly how the project works. And now I open the floor for questions. Does it make sense, or any questions just popping to your mind?
I would like to ask Adriana, how popular has the project become? Because you've been running it for quite some time. It started far before pandemics, I guess.
Yes, thank you for the question. It started in September 2019, and now we have a bit over 800 people who have been registered in the project. And I would say a bit over 70 countries. I mean, these people are from over 70 countries. Not everybody is active at any given round, because if you are registering, you can participate for a while, then maybe deactivate your participation and then get active again. So depending on your time availability. Any other questions? If none, then I would ask maybe Tomasz or Pavel, is this something that sounds interesting to you? If yes, why? If not, why?
Maybe I'll try first. I don't know actually, because I never heard about that project before. Literally 2 hours ago, I just received a message from Olga. There is something like Odyssey Project, and I wasn't expect anything from. I wasn't expect actually anything. So the main actually I asked Olga today because I started to feel my English is I'm losing my English. I've been 16 years abroad, and I contacted to Olga as a English teacher, and she recommended me to come to have a look, maybe to see some interesting parts for me. And then I don't know. Actually, I have no more questions about the project, because I have to get used to see more details maybe.
If I am to say a couple of words based on what you've said, what I would recommend is actually the networking part, and it will help you practice speaking. You are already like speaking quite well, but practice makes perfect. So by meeting different people from all around the world, you also get familiarized with different accents, different cultures, and you practice speaking. Any other questions?
I have one question, if
Yes.
I can. How many language we use in this project?
How many? What? Sorry.
Language we use.
Languages. That's a very good question. I don't know by heart, but I can tell you right away that we have 30 active languages and a total of 49 languages present in the project. Basically, there are people who are speaking these languages, and when you register, you can input what languages you can use.
All right. Thank you for answer.
You're welcome. Okay. If there are, I presume there are not any more questions at this point. If you have any later on, please, please just ask or put them in the chat. And I would like to continue with the second part of our meeting, where I invite you to a discussion on how to network with compassion. And like I've said, this networking part in the Odyssey project is about meeting another person that you haven't seen before, you haven't met before, somebody completely new, and you do not know in what situation in their life they are at the moment, and you just get to meet and have a conversation for about an hour. While this discussion can be very rewarding and informational for you from many points of view, like cultural or language, or learning about Toastmasters experience in other parts of the world, it might also be problematic, especially if one of the two of you are in distress, more or less, or you are aware or not of that fact. But yeah, life is as it is. It happens without us waiting to let it and telling it how it should happen. So we need to be prepared. So this is why I think it's very important to be able, when we are speaking with somebody, first to listen, and to listen with compassion. And if you have been present in the, or if you have noticed the postings in the Odyssey group, so we have shared some ideas on how to listen with compassion. And these are some of the ideas that I'm sharing with you, and that I encourage you to think about. And I also ask your opinion. Is this enough? Is there anything missing? On how you can imagine that there is somebody in a difficult situation right now, you are talking with them. How can you be compassionate? How can you listen to what they are saying as a real human being? And I do invite you to share your ideas here.
I could start by sharing my insights after what you've said, Adriana. It seems that we can get closer to other people and really make stronger relationships, even make friends via networking, when we stop being interesting and start being interested. When we really, truly want to find out a bit about the person we are talking to and ask questions. Sometimes, of course, when you meet a person for the first time, it's not easy to ask a personal question like, what's on your mind? Why aren't you in the best mood or something else? I can see that something is bothering you. However, we should try. I think that the conversation becomes deeper and about more important things, and Toastmasters are used to it. We are not used to talking about sports and weather anytime we meet, because we are oriented on development, supporting one another. So it's not something that should scare anybody, that we start a more serious topic and we ask questions. But I think the biggest challenge for many people is learning to listen and getting the courage to ask questions, learning how to ask questions, so to keep the conversation going.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much, Olga. I liked very much the way you mentioned that we should stop trying to be interesting and start being interested. It's really nicely said and very, very valid. Anyone else who would like to add?
Yes, I would like to add to
Yes,
Olga,
please.
to Olga's comment. Yes, I totally agree with Olga about that, because it's quite not easy to speak to someone who you can see the first time. Like now, for example, we are sitting here, I can see you first time, and to be honest, I don't know what questions I should ask or what conversation should I expand. I don't know, is the correct word or not. And honestly, this is completely different situation for me, as I spent 16 years in United Kingdom. I learn English, I would say, street language. So vocabulary is completely different to talk about those topics than in normal life on the streets. So it's a little bit stressful, but I think more time is getting better.
Yes, yes, indeed. And yeah, it's very, very true that sometimes we find it awkward when facing new faces and don't know what to say. From a practical point of view, so when you are receiving the matching emails, especially in the networking part, you are also getting some information about interests of the other person. So in that sense, you already have some ideas of a potential topic for conversation. And usually people are happy to talk about their interests, so that's a winner. But it's also very important to be able to observe the state. I mean, this listening, it's a bit more than just listening with the ears, but also listening with the eyes, observing the other person and trying to understand in what situation they are at the moment. Okay, would we have any other ideas or comments?
If I may say something, I think it's like, if you hear what Olga said about stop being interesting and start being interested, it's always good to forget all your answers when you try to ask questions. But it's sometimes not very easy to do, and still you can have bias and you can have your own assumptions, and it's sometimes maybe just good to confirm them. Because a person can just tell you something and then you can think, okay, if this something happened, then surely this also is true, and this also is true, and this also is true, which you don't know because you didn't hear this from this person. So you're assuming, you're biased, and your prior knowledge comes in. And then it's basically good to stop and ask yourself, is it something that you heard from this person, or is it something that you've created by yourself, assuming this person is following the previous experiences that you had in your life? So maybe it's just good to stop and figure out, what are you figuring out and what did you hear? Where's the conflict? And just confirm with the person, okay, I've heard this. I'm thinking this is also true, but is it also true? And then that can also build some more interesting things, because then the person can say, yes, this is true, or the person can say no, and then provide you greater context to this. So it's always good to stop and think what's coming from you and what's coming from the other person.
Yes, yes. Yeah, thank you very much, Martin. A very good point, trying to confirm that or to verify our assumptions and to be aware where do they come from. The second, I mean, would there be anything else that any of you would want to add at this point? I presume not. And still keeping on a similar topic, of course, in addition to listening, it's also about how to speak with compassion. And speaking is formed by the words we are using. And again, some of the suggestions we have shared with the Odyssey participants that are good examples on what words to use, especially when the other person is under a lot of stress, are highlighted here. And also, as for the previous slide, I'm willing to listen from you, from your wisdom, what other examples or what experiences did you have when you have used or did not use these kind of words?
What I notice about this kind of transmission, we're going from giving advice and from working as the encyclopedia of ideas to the big ear. We become the big ear, and we encourage the person to listen, to tell us more with the expressions that you have shown us. It's very useful. This year I have been helping people in District 108 with conflict resolution. And very often my help was just, it was enough to really convince people to start listening to one another without breaking, without giving solutions, without saying you should, you shouldn't. Just listen till the end. And on the side of the one who was in conflict, who was in strong emotions, it was really good that somebody could listen to them and they could express all of it and see it not inside them but outside, and it helped a lot. And very often it was enough to look from a different perspective at some problem, and it helped a lot to resolve a conflict. So it's a wonderful way to be empathetic, and listen with compassion is definitely a must. The better leader we want to be, the more we need to learn this.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Would anyone else want to add or comment? What does it mean for you to speak with compassion?
I think it's very important to try to understand other side. It's not only our feelings. I think we have to listen more carefully and try to solve the problem or help someone to understand better. I don't know, I'm just guessing. There's so many situations in the life, and it's quite hard to focus at the moment.
If I may, I cannot help but notice that, like, if you look at the amount of things, I can see 6 things here. 4 of them on the right are telling, I understand, I'm here for you, tell me more, I am listening. So it's not about speaking, it's more about creating space for deep conversation, because sometimes you just want to listen and react to what the person is saying. So it's really turns back to, yes, it's really going back to the listening with compassion, because they both go together. And then depending on what the person said, you probably need to act accordingly. But if you look at the left, it's not about giving advices or minimizing the problem, like everything will be fine. In the current situation that we're in, it will probably not be fine for at least a couple more, for at least some more time. So it's just about understanding the whole like landscape of everything that's happening to the person. Because like in the left, I can see minimizing and giving advices, and giving advices to a person who is in trouble. It's always the easiest, and you want to help. Like it's natural. You just want to go ahead and yeah, I know how to fix it. But then if you don't know the context, your advice can be like the person probably heard your advice like multiple times already. So it's just about a proper reaction without trying to minimize the problem and without minimizing the landscape of what we have.
Yes, very good observation, and it makes me think of the what it is being said in therapy, that, well, we are not doing any therapy here, but it is said that most of the healing comes from the relationship between the two people. So just knowing that there is somebody there for you, it's already giving a lot of help. And if you can create, especially, this space, this safe space for the other person, it's very useful. Okay, I do not claim to have covered all the ways on how to be compassionate or how to network or discuss with compassion, but at least we have touched a couple of points. And if you have maybe some further ideas or concluding ideas, I'd be happy to take them on. And if not, I can only wish you a very warm and kind and fulfilling Odyssey round, where you will meet wonderful people, network with them, you will have mentors or mentees, and I hope that you can make the best of it. And if you are not yet registered in the Odyssey project, as I presume at least 2 of you are not, if you register now, then you will get your matching email in almost 4 weeks. So when the next round will start. So the official part of the meeting is over, but I am happy to stay and discuss more if you want. Otherwise, I do thank you for being here and for contributing at this discussion. I hope it was helpful for you. And let me know, Martin has already put in the chat the link for the Odyssey project, where you can find more information about the project, and you can also register. And if you have, after reading that, or even before, if you have questions, please do not hesitate to contact by Facebook or through the email address that you will find on the website. With this being said, I do thank you for your participation, and I wish you a lovely evening and a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adriana. Happy Toastmasters experience to all of us.
Yes, thank you. Same to all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.